Okay, I decided to make a quick video over Solomon's temple, and it was in the first video. I kind of broke down all the other symbolisms of God's heart, and I just didn't do it with the temple, so I decided to go ahead and throw it in there, but it's going to be very short. So some of the similarities with the temple with one of the other symbolisms of God's heart is Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark had 3 floors or 3 stories. So does Solomon's temple, each one of them being 10 cubits in length, a total of 30 cubits high. So Noah's Ark was 30 cubits high. The temple that Solomon finished was 30 cubits high, and they both used the same wood. It says gopher, that Noah used gopher wood. Here it says cypress, but there's just too many people that come into agreement that it was the same wood, regardless of the name that was being used. So again, this whole series I'm going over is depicting God's heart and seeing the shadows all the way before the actual showed up, who was Jesus, who was Christ. And so I think it's really neat that Solomon, being the wisest man, right, he prayed for wisdom and God gave that to him, but now he's got to prove it. So what kind of wisdom did Solomon have? It was spiritual wisdom. I'm not saying that he didn't physically know things in this world. I'm saying that the true wisdom that's being depicted here is that Solomon had the wisdom of God. And so he does prove it. So not only does he finish the temple, he makes the height of it the same as the ark, because there is something that the Spirit is trying to tell mankind. So not only does he do that, he puts cherubims and palm trees on the front doors. So cherubims were positioned on the east, on the entrance, if you will, of the Garden of Eden, which is on the east side. Well, how do you? Solomon built the temple in the direction of the east, same way. So far, everything looks exactly the same. For what reason? What purpose? So sometimes some of these things are so simple. You can go ask a lot of people what they think, and they can just help you mess it up. It's pretty simple stuff. So we know that Eden had cherubims that were set on the outside at the entrance. Here's cherubims at the entrance. And just to prove his wisdom even further, he knew that people still wouldn't get it. So when you walked in the temple and you looked around, there was cherubims and palm trees around the whole wall. All 30 cubits of it, all the way up, cherubims and palm trees. And for some reason, if you missed those 2 huge signs, there were 2 cherubims in the Holy of Holies that were 5 cubits high, and the wingspan of them were 10 cubits. So a cubit being around 18 inches, those are huge. They're like statues, pretty much. And there's 2 of them. There was nowhere in there that you could look around and you weren't facing cherubims and palm trees. Palm trees symbolizing the wisdom of God. The wisdom of God, where we receive our guidance and things of that. You know, in the Bible, I think it's Deborah, I think her name is Deborah, and she sat under the palm trees of Deborah, and she gave advice to people. People knew to come to her for advice, okay? But throughout this whole thing, one thing Solomon did is to make sure that cherubims and palm trees were everywhere. No matter where you were going to see palm trees, and you were going to see the cherubims. So again, all this depicting the heart of God. Solomon completed this temple, and he made sure to put these specific details in there because he knew that all this had to be continued from the very beginning. So if the temple is complete, and we know that Jesus completed the temple spiritually, and so if Jesus completed the temple spiritually, then to see what was complete here through Solomon, you spiritually can see what is complete. It's the same thing. The same thing is completed in you spiritually. Uh, God planted a garden in the east of Eden. He planted a garden. The Bible, time and time again, even through the parables of the sower, when Jesus describes the four soils, because the disciples didn't understand what he had said, he said the four soils is man's heart. So if the four soils is man's heart, then man's heart is a soil. It's a soil, a land, a ground. Your heart is everything that we've been going over. It is God's heart in you if you are saved through Christ, and anyone can receive it as a gift. Anyone can. Your heart is that precious thing. Your heart is what is pleasant to God. So in a sense, your heart is Eden. But again, I'm saying that because the word means pleasant. Okay, but your heart is where God goes to walk the cool of the day like he used to do in the Garden of Eden in its physical sense. But spiritually, Eden has been revived. Eden is no longer how Adam left it, because the second Adam had given his life and has resurrected. And through him, everything else is resurrected. There were thorns and thistles that went in Eden. Jesus bore those thorn and thistles on his head at the cross. He was the living water. He became the dry land. He became the dead heart. He did. Not us. He took that from us. He's the one that became dry and desolate. We were dry and desolate. And he came with the living word, gave it to us, and it is now him that lives through us. So if it's him that lives through us, and Jesus was pleasant to God, he was Eden to God, then you are Eden to God. You are pleasant to God. You are that soil that God is now planting hearts in. You're it. And now you are to feed people around you from the beautiful trees that are coming from your garden within your heart. So it's a beautiful thing from all the way from the beginning all the way to here, and now we're going to through Christ, and it's just amazing. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that. I thought it was something that I should have went over, and so that's why I did. But I'll see you guys next time.